First contact. The quantum array aboard the ESS Hyperion hummed softly as it processed the incoming signal. Commander Sarah Chen stood motionless before the holographic display, her weathered features illuminated by the flickering data streams. After 15 years of deep space surveillance, this was the moment her team had been waiting for. Proof they weren't alone. Dr. Patel. Analysis. She called out, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. The ship's chief xenolinguist looked up from his station, dark eyes wide with excitement. It's a distress signal, Commander. The language structure matches nothing in our database, but the mathematical patterns are unmistakable. Someone out there is screaming for help. The signal had originated from the edges of the Carina Nebula, over 2,000 light-years from Earth. Its contents painted a grim picture, a civilization facing extinction as their star system's magnetar threatened to unleash a devastating gamma-ray burst. They were broadcasting their scientific and cultural knowledge to the cosmos, hoping someone would preserve their legacy. What they didn't know was that humanity had been listening. For decades, Earth had maintained a careful silence while developing technologies that could withstand the harshest conditions in space. The crushing pressures of deep-sea research stations and the scorching heat of volcanic laboratories had forged innovations that alien observers had deemed impossible for a primitive species. Contact the Phoenix Protocol Command, Chen ordered. Authorization, Chen, Alpha 70. It's time to unveil the Guardian fleet. Within hours, similar reports flooded in from hidden observation posts across the galaxy. The Hyperion's quantum computers decoded more distress signals, not just from one civilization, but from dozens scattered across the Carina region. The magnetar's imminent collapse threatened to sterilize hundreds of inhabitable worlds. In the sprawling underground complex beneath the Marianas Trench, Admiral James Torres reviewed the situation with Earth's Unified Defense Council. The massive chamber, designed to withstand the ocean's crushing depths, housed humanity's greatest secret, a fleet of ships built to survive conditions that most alien species considered impossible. The Carina civilizations have achieved remarkable technological progress, Torres explained, gesturing to the holographic star chart, but they developed in gentler environments. Their ships can't withstand the radiation levels needed for a close-range rescue operation. Council member Dr. Maya Wong leaned forward, her prosthetic eyes adjusting to focus on the data. And we can. That's exactly what we've been preparing for. Torres smiled. Project Guardian wasn't just about defense. Every breakthrough in pressure hull technology, every advance in radiation shielding, it was all leading to this moment. We can save them. The council chamber erupted in discussion. After centuries of purposeful isolation, humanity was about to reveal itself to the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as saviors. Within days, the Guardian fleet mobilized. 50 ships, each larger than any vessel the galaxy's civilizations had achieved, emerged from hidden bases across Earth. The ES Hyperion led the formation, its quantum-reinforced hull gleaming under the starlight. Commander Chen stood on the bridge as her ship prepared for the first faster-than-light jump. The crew, all veterans of deep space operations, maintained their discipline, but she could feel their excitement. Humanity had mastered the art of survival on their death world, and now they would use that knowledge to preserve life across the stars. All ships report ready, Commander, her XO announced. The quantum fold drive is spooled up. Chen took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Send one final message to the Council. Operation Guardian is go. Then broadcast on all frequencies in the target languages. The message was simple but powerful. To all species in the Carina region, we hear you. We are coming. Humanity stands ready to help. As the Guardian fleet vanished into quantum space, Chen couldn't help but smile at the irony. The galaxy had watched Earth from a distance, marking it as too dangerous to approach. They never realized that the very conditions they feared had forged humanity into exactly what the universe needed, a species tough enough to face any challenge, compassionate enough to help others survive. The rescue mission had begun, and the galaxy was about to learn that Deathworlders made the greatest guardians of life. The Forge of Storms. Deep within the volcanic research facility beneath Mount Fuji, Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched as robotic arms manipulated materials in a chamber hot enough to melt tungsten. The facility, one of Earth's most closely guarded secrets, had been the birthplace of the technologies that made the Guardian fleet possible. "Show me the latest test results from the radiation absorption matrix," she instructed the AI system. Holographic data streams materialized, showing stress tests that would have seemed impossible to most alien civilizations. The facility's unique location allowed them to harness geothermal forces that other species considered too extreme to control. A notification flashed across her display, a priority message from the ESS Hyperion. Commander Chen's quantum-encrypted transmission revealed that the first wave of refugee ships had been detected fleeing the Carina region. Their vessels, while advanced by galactic standards, were struggling against the increasing radiation from the destabilizing magnetar. "They built their civilization in the gentle spaces between the stars," Rodriguez murmured, studying the alien ship designs. "They never needed to adapt to extremes." Her thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Kai Nakamura, the facility's quantum mechanics expert. His usually calm demeanor showed signs of excitement. "Elena, you need to see this." The Hyperion sensors picked up something incredible about the magnetar's deterioration. The data he shared showed patterns that made Rodriguez's breath catch. The magnetar wasn't just dying. It was collapsing in a way that could trigger a cascade of stellar failures across the sector. The alien civilizations hadn't just been facing the destruction of their home systems. They were about to witness the birth of a stellar graveyard. "Send this to Admiral Torres immediately," Rodriguez ordered, "and get me a direct link to the Hyperion science team." Hours later, in a secure quantum conference connecting Earth's hidden research facilities, humanity's brightest minds gathered to face their greatest challenge. The volcanic lab beneath Fuji, the pressure chambers in the Marianas Trench, the Antarctic dark matter facility. Each location represented a different aspect of humanity's secret technological revolution. "Our ships can handle the radiation," Admiral Torres began, his holographic form floating above the conference table. But the time window for evacuation just shrunk dramatically. "We're not just racing against one stellar event anymore." Rodriguez stepped forward, pulling up simulations developed in the Fuji facility. "We've been preparing for something like this. Project Prometheus wasn't just about building ships that could survive extreme conditions. We developed technologies to actively manipulate those conditions." The simulation showed a network of quantum field generators designed to create safe corridors through space that would otherwise be lethal to most forms of life. It was the kind of technology that could only have been developed by a species that evolved on a world that constantly tried to kill them. "The aliens will see it as impossible," Nakamura noted. "Their physics models don't account for the kind of forces we work with every day." "Then it's time to show them what's possible when you evolve on a death world," Rodriguez replied. She manipulated the holographic display, showing how the Guardian fleet could deploy the field generators. "We can create safe passages through the radiation storms, channels that their ships can use to escape." The conference erupted in technical discussions as humanity's hidden genius emerged from the shadows. For centuries, they had watched the stars, learning and preparing. While alien civilizations explored the safe paths between stars, humanity had built laboratories in volcanoes and under crushing ocean pressures. They had mastered plasma containment in Antarctic cold traps and developed quantum fields strong enough to bend space itself. In the Fuji facility's main engineering bay, Rodriguez supervised as the latest batch of quantum field generators was loaded for emergency transport to the fleet. Each device represented decades of research, countless failures, and the relentless determination that had allowed humanity to thrive on their harsh world. Dr. Rodriguez, a young engineer, called out, "Commander Chen is requesting an update on the field generator specifications." The Hyperion's team has some ideas about modifying them for broader coverage. Rodriguez smiled. Even now, facing their first major crisis as a spacefaring civilization, humanity's innovative spirit couldn't be contained. They weren't just using their technology. They were improving it, adapting it to save as many lives as possible. Tell them to proceed with the modifications, she ordered, and send them the latest data from our volcanic stress tests. It's time to show the galaxy what humans can really do. As she watched the generators being loaded, Rodriguez thought about the aliens they were racing to save. Soon, they would learn that the species they had dismissed as primitive Deathworlders had mastered forces they considered impossible to control. But more importantly, they would learn why humanity had developed these technologies in the first place, not for conquest, but for survival. Not just their own, but for any species that needed their help. The forge of Earth's harsh conditions had created something unique in the galaxy, a civilization that could face any challenge, adapt to any extreme, and use that strength to protect others. The Guardian fleet was more than a collection of advanced ships. It was proof that humanity's greatest achievement wasn't just surviving their death world, but learning to help others survive too. Operation Sanctuary. The ESS Hyperion dropped out of quantum space at the edge of the Carina sector, its massive hull briefly distorting the starlight around it. Commander Chen watched as her tactical display filled with hundreds of signatures, alien refugee ships struggling to escape the growing radiation storm. Status report, she ordered, her voice cutting through the tense atmosphere on the bridge. Radiation levels are already at 4,000 terarads and climbing, Lieutenant Park reported from the science station. The alien vessel's shielding won't hold for more than 6 hours at these levels, and that's being optimistic. Chen nodded grimly. The alien ships were packed with civilians, entire populations trying to flee their dying worlds. Their vessels were impressive by galactic standards, sleek designs built for comfortable, faster-than-light travel through safe regions of space. But they had never been designed to withstand the kind of radiation hell that was building around them. Deploy the quantum field generators, she commanded. Priority to the vessels showing shield stress, and prepare the emergency docking protocols. Outside the Hyperion, massive devices began to unfold like mechanical flowers, each one a testament to human engineering. The quantum fields they generated created safe corridors through space, paths where the lethal radiation was pushed back by forces that most alien species considered theoretical. First contact protocols are ready, Dr. Patil announced from his station. Translation matrices are active, and we're broadcasting on all known frequencies. Chen took a deep breath. This was the moment humanity would officially reveal itself to the galaxy. Open channels, all frequencies, all languages. Her voice, translated into dozens of alien languages, reached out to the refugee fleet. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Hyperion. We've detected your distress signals, and we're here to help. Our vessels can withstand the radiation. Follow our guidance, and we'll get you to safety. The response was immediate, a cacophony of disbelief, hope, and desperate questions. How could unknown ships appear from nowhere? What was Earth? How could any vessel operate in radiation that was already overwhelming their best shielding? They're scanning us, Park reported, a hint of amusement in his voice. Their sensors must be going haywire trying to make sense of our hull composition. Show them what we can do, Chen ordered. Deploy rescue teams, full environmental protocols. The Hyperion's massive hangar bays opened, releasing squadrons of smaller craft. Each rescue shuttle was a miniature marvel of human engineering, designed to dock with alien vessels regardless of their configuration. The shuttle's adaptable airlocks could match any known atmospheric requirement, while their reinforced hulls laughed at radiation levels that would melt conventional spacecraft. On one of the lead shuttles, Captain Maya Patil, no relation to the xenolinguist, guided her craft toward a cluster of refugee ships. Their sensors showed critical shield failure on 3 vessels, with over 10,000 civilians aboard each. This is Earth Rescue Team Alpha, she broadcast. We're seeing critical shield collapse on your vessels. Prepare for emergency evacuation procedures." The alien responses were a mix of fear and amazement as the human shuttles approached. Through the viewports, Maya could see the refugees, crystalline beings on one ship, methane brothers on another, and what appeared to be sentient plasma forms on the third. "Remember your training," she told her team. "Every species, every atmosphere type, every gravity requirement, we accommodate them all. Show them why Earth's harsh conditions made us the best at survival." The rescue operation unfolded with precision, born from years of preparation. Human crews, protected by suits designed to withstand the crushing pressures of Earth's deep oceans, helped evacuate alien civilians into specially designed safe zones aboard their ships. Each environmental chamber could be adjusted instantly to match the needs of different species, a technology born from humanity's need to create survivable spaces in Earth's most extreme environments. Back on the Hyperion's bridge, Chen watched the operation unfold. The quantum field network was expanding, creating an ever-growing safe zone for the refugee ships. The rest of the Guardian fleet had arrived, each massive vessel taking position to extend the protective corridor. "Commander," Dr. Patel called out, "we're receiving transmissions from dozens of alien governmental authorities. They're asking how a species they classified as primitive Deathworlders developed this level of technology without being detected." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Tell them the truth, Doctor. Tell them that every challenge Earth threw at us, every storm, every earthquake, every volcanic eruption, taught us something about survival. And not just our own survival, but how to help others survive too." The bridge crew worked tirelessly as more refugee ships arrived. The radiation storm was intensifying, but the human vessels stood firm, their quantum fields holding back the lethal energy that threatened to scour the sector clean of life. "New contact," Park announced suddenly. "Massive energy signature at the edge of the sector. It's the Galactic Council's emergency response fleet." Chen straightened in her command chair. The galaxy's governing body had finally arrived, only to find that the primitive Deathworlders they had dismissed had already launched the largest rescue operation in known space. "Open a channel to their flagship," she ordered. "Let's show them that humanity is ready to take its place among the stars. Not as conquerors, not as savages, but as guardians." As the rescue operation continued around them, the galaxy was learning an important lesson. Sometimes the harshest worlds forged the strongest protectors, and humanity was ready to protect them all. Trial by fire. The quantum communications array aboard the Hyperion erupted with urgent signals as Dr. Elena Rodriguez's worst fears became reality. The magnetor's deterioration had accelerated beyond all predictions, sending waves of lethal radiation across the evacuation corridors. "All ships, emergency protocols." Commander Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "Adjust quantum fields to maximum coverage. Divert all non-essential power to the shields." The Guardian fleet's massive vessels moved with practiced precision, their crews falling back on years of training in Earth's most extreme environments. But this was different. Even their heavily shielded ships were being tested by the sheer intensity of the radiation storm. On the bridge of the Hyperion, Lieutenant Park's fingers danced across his console. "Commander, we've got over 300 refugee ships still in the danger zone. The Council vessels are falling back. Their shields can't handle these levels." Chen watched as the tactical display showed the Galactic Council's emergency fleet retreating to safer distances. She couldn't blame them. Their ships simply weren't built to withstand these conditions, but that left thousands of refugees depending solely on human protection. "Get me Dr. Rodriguez at Fuji Control," Chen ordered. "We need options." The quantum link connected instantly, showing Rodriguez in the volcanic facility's control center. The scientist's eyes widened as she saw the real-time data from the Hyperion sensors. "The magnetor's collapse is creating a cascade effect," Rodriguez explained, her voice tense. "The radiation levels are approaching what we see in Earth's Van Allen belts during solar maxima." But there's something else. She transmitted new data to the Hyperion systems. The readings showed gravitational anomalies building throughout the sector. Space itself was beginning to warp under the strain. The quantum corridors won't hold against this kind of gravitational distortion, Rodriguez continued. We need to adapt our strategy. Chen looked at her tactical display, mind racing. The refugee ships were scattered across a vast area, each one carrying thousands of lives. Conventional evacuation protocols would take too long. What about the Prometheus protocols? Chen asked, referring to an experimental technology that had only been tested in simulations. Rodriguez's hologram showed surprise. The field synchronization network, it's never been tested at this scale. The power requirements alone. We're out of options, Chen cut in. How quickly can you transmit the protocols to the fleet? The next few minutes were a blur of activity as Rodriguez's team transmitted complex quantum equations to every ship in the Guardian fleet. The Prometheus protocols were humanity's most ambitious attempt yet to control the forces that made their homeworld so dangerous. A way to synchronize multiple quantum fields into a single massive protective bubble. All ships prepare for synchronized field activation. Chen broadcast. Engineering teams route all available power to the quantum generators. We do this together, or not at all. Across the fleet, human crews worked with desperate intensity. They had trained for this, had prepared for the day when they would need to protect others from the kind of extreme conditions that had forged their species. Field synchronization in 3, 2, 1. Activate. The space around the Guardian fleet lit up as dozens of quantum fields merged into a single massive barrier. The combined field expanded rapidly, engulfing hundreds of refugee ships in its protective embrace. Inside the field, the lethal radiation levels dropped to manageable levels. It's working, Park exclaimed. Field integrity at 97% and holding. But their victory was short-lived. New alarms blared as the gravitational anomalies intensified. The space around them began to twist in ways that defied conventional physics. The magnetor's collapse is accelerating, Rodriguez reported, her hologram flickering with interference. The gravitational shear is going to tear this sector apart. Chen watched as her crew responded to the crisis, their training kicking in. On Earth, they had learned to survive earthquakes, hurricanes, and volcanic eruptions. They had built cities that could withstand nature's fury. Now they would use that experience to save others. All ships, prepare for emergency quantum jump, she ordered. We're taking the refugees with us. The plan was audacious, using the synchronized quantum fields to create a massive bubble of protected space, then jumping the entire fleet and all the refugee ships to safety in a single massive quantum leap. It had never been attempted. Most alien scientists would have called it impossible. But impossible was what humans did best. Quantum drives spooling up, Park reported. Field integrity holding at 94%. All refugee ships are secure within the protection zone. Chen took a deep breath, feeling the weight of thousands of lives resting on this moment. All ships on my mark. 3, 2, 1. Jump. The combined fleet, hundreds of vessels protected by humanity's quantum fields, vanished in a flash of energy just as the magnetor's death throes began to tear space itself apart. When they emerged light years away, in the safe harbor humanity had prepared, the refugee ships were intact. Not a single life had been lost. As the quantum fields powered down, Chen received a transmission from the Galactic Council's representatives. Their message was simple but profound. We were wrong about Earth. We saw a death world and assumed it would produce monsters. Instead, it forged guardians. Chen smiled as she watched alien families reuniting on her view screens. This was why humanity had worked so hard, had pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Not to conquer, not to destroy, but to ensure that no species would have to face extinction alone. The Deathworlders had become lifesavers, and the galaxy would never be the same. New dawn. 1 month after the Carina rescue, the Great Hall of Earth's Marianas complex hosted an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from over 50 alien species filled the massive underwater chamber, their environmental suits allowing them to survive the crushing pressures that humans had long since adapted to handle. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the speaker's podium, looking out over the assembled delegates. The alien representatives had insisted on holding this historic meeting on Earth itself. They wanted to understand the world that had created humanity. "Welcome to Earth," she began, her words translated into dozens of languages. "I know many of you find our world harsh and uninhabitable. For centuries, you watched us from a distance, marking us as dangerous Deathworlders to be contained and avoided. Today, I want to show you why that perspective needs to change." The massive screens behind her displayed images from the rescue operation. Human ships standing firm against radiation that would have melted conventional vessels, rescue crews working tirelessly to save alien civilians, the unprecedented quantum jump that had saved thousands of lives. "The same conditions that made Earth seem so dangerous to you," Chen continued, "forced us to become innovators, problem solvers, and most importantly, survivors. But we learned something crucial along the way. True survival isn't just about being strong enough to endure. It's about being strong enough to help others endure too." Dr. Elena Rodriguez took the podium next, her presentation showing how Earth's volcanic laboratories and deep-sea research stations had led to breakthroughs that the galaxy had thought impossible. The alien delegates watched in amazement as they realized how humanity had turned their world's hostile conditions into advantages. "Each challenge Earth presented taught us something valuable," Rodriguez explained. "Volcanic heat helped us master extreme temperature manipulation. Crushing ocean pressures led to our quantum field technology. Even our deadly storms contributed to our understanding of chaos theory and energy containment." The Galactic Council's Supreme Director, a crystalline being named Zar-El, rose to address the gathering. "We owe humanity a profound apology." The director's translated voice resonated through the hall. "We saw your harsh world and assumed it would produce only warriors and destroyers. Instead, it forged protectors and innovators." The director's next words sent a ripple of excitement through the chamber. "The Council proposes the establishment of a new galactic emergency response force, with Earth's Guardian Fleet at its core. Your experience with extreme conditions makes you uniquely qualified to handle crises that other species cannot." The proposal sparked intense discussion among the delegates. The idea of Deathworlders leading rescue operations across the galaxy represented a fundamental shift in galactic society's perspective. Admiral Torres stepped forward to address the concerns. "We understand your hesitation," he said. "For centuries, you feared what Earth's harsh conditions might create. But consider this: every challenge that made you fear us also prepared us to help you. Our ships can withstand conditions that would destroy others. Our crews can operate in environments that most species consider impossible. We've mastered forces that you thought untamable." He paused, letting his words sink in. "We don't want to use these abilities to dominate or conquer. We want to use them to protect, to rescue, to ensure that no species ever has to face extinction alone." The discussion continued for hours, but the outcome was clear. Humanity's actions during the Carina crisis had proven that strength forged in adversity could be used for the benefit of all. 1 week later, Commander Chen stood on the Hyperion's bridge as the newly established emergency response force conducted its first joint training exercise. Ships from dozens of species practiced operating within human quantum fields, learning to work together to face the galaxy's deadliest hazards. "Incoming transmission from Fuji Control," Lieutenant Park announced. Dr. Rodriguez reports that 10 more species have requested permission to establish research facilities on Earth. They want to learn from our Deathworld expertise. Chen smiled as she watched alien crews adapting to human rescue protocols. The galaxy was changing, and Earth, once feared and avoided, was becoming a center of innovation and hope. "You know what the best part is," Dr. Patel commented from his station. "They're starting to understand that what makes a species truly advanced isn't their technology or their comfortable environments. It's their willingness to use whatever strength they have to help others. The Hyperion's quantum arrays hummed as the ship prepared for another training jump. Through the view screens, Chen could see vessels of all shapes and sizes falling into formation. A fleet of diverse species united by a common purpose. The Deathworlders had not only survived, they had shown the galaxy a better way to live. Earth's harsh conditions had created something unique. A species that could face any challenge, adapt to any extreme, and use that strength not for domination, but for protection. As the fleet prepared to jump, Chen thought about how far they had come. The galaxy had feared what Earth's extreme conditions would create. Instead, those very conditions had forged exactly what the universe needed. Guardians tough enough to face any crisis, and compassionate enough to ensure that no one would have to face it alone. The age of isolation was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And humanity, the Deathworlders turned Guardians, would lead the way into this new dawn.